been meaning to talk about my marathon that I ran on May 10th, which is exactly 3 weeks ago from today's date. And I've been procrastinating it a little bit because I haven't quite been able to figure out how I feel about it. But more about that in a little bit. So, as you can see, this is the medal, 42.195k, run through the streets of Copenhagen. The race in and of itself went as one could expect on like a 4-week training block. Around 21 kilometers, I felt quite fresh in my legs. Gave me a bit of a morale boost. I think because I haven't run a full marathon before, especially like timed and going for a certain pace and whatever, I didn't know exactly how that was gonna impact my body at around 30 kilometers, which is where all the fun stuff started to happen. We started going a little bit downhill around the 30k mark. So you have a long trajectory up, and then you kind of run downhill for quite a bit. And my left leg and hamstring, or whatever muscle is back there, started cramping. I had no idea what to do because I've never cramped up on a run before. So it was a little bit terrifying because I thought I was actually going to have to exit the race at that point. Go out to the edge of the course, try and stretch it out, and thank God it worked. I ran another 8 kilometers and around 38, 39 maybe, the same leg at the same place started cramping up again. At that point, I was pretty sure I was done. I only had like 3k to go, but still, like, I stopped, tried to stretch it out. I got it stretched out, but it kept cramping up again and again. At one point, I just decided run with a straight leg, so there's less of a chance of it cramping up. 700 meters after that, it kind of went away again. I've been hearing about these salt and electrolyte tablets that you can actually pop during the race. I didn't have that. Probably would have been a good idea to have that. Nevertheless, I made it on time, and at around, I think, kilometer 41. You know, you get into this weird headspace. You've been running for so long, you don't quite trust what's going on. And since I couldn't trust my body, I started doubting everything around me, like the terrain and my own mindset. Everything just hurt. Like, you know, the feeling you get when you haven't been working out for a while and you work out for the first time, the muscle soreness you get like 2 days after. I felt that from my toenail up to like the middle region of my torso, because also you have to use your core strength to keep you upright for such a long time, and breathing and everything, that it was quite surprising. But that whole doubt led into me not thinking I could trust my watch, and I couldn't trust the official time on the tables that were up. And I wanted to finish within 4 hours, and I couldn't do the math. The only thing that I could see on the tables was that it hadn't reached 4 hours yet. So the last kilometer, I gunned it, and instead of doing a 5:30, somewhere around a 6-minute split, the last 1.2 kilometers, my split was 4 minutes and 20. Because I wanted that sub 4 so bad that I just, went for it, to be perfectly honest. Not caring about like how my legs felt, and you can tell by the last stretch on Østerbro in Copenhagen that you're probably there and you can see the finish line for quite a long time. So it all turned out great. I was sub 4 hours. I wanted to do originally 3:30, like 3 hours and 30 minutes, but that didn't quite pan out, and there's quite a few reasons why. All during the preparation and the build up to the marathon, the organization or the Sparta or whatever, they're very good at sending out these reminders that you have to check your starting group and all these things that you might not remember. I'm not very good at answering emails, so I only saw it after. The starting group I was in was 4 hours and 30, which meant for the first 90 minutes to 2 hours, I was overtaking, weaving, zigzagging through people. So I think that might have played a little bit into my finishing time. So lesson number 1 from the Copenhagen Marathon is that your starting group is very important. You should not start in a slower starting group than you think you're gonna finish. And especially in Copenhagen, the streets are not that wide, I think, in a lot of places. So if people run together, let's just say 4 to 6 people, run in a line, run in a group, maybe 12, maybe 20 people, maybe they're running with a pacer that's carrying or at least leading this big group of people, it can be a lot of effort to overtake. And I think that fucked up my race in terms of going for the 3:30. I don't think I would have made it anyways, but I think I would have been closer to maybe 3 hours and 45 than the sub 4 hours that I got in. It was 3 hours, 57 minutes and 46 seconds. Also, point number 2 that I've learned, even though I've been pretty much a runner somewhat consistently throughout my whole life, I think a 4-week training block is not the way to go. I think you should definitely train for a bit longer, maybe do some mobility exercises and also some strength exercises. Apparently, everybody on the internet who knows anything about running and know what they're talking about, they kept telling me this and I kept ignoring it, and I do not think that was in my favor. So, longer training block, don't push yourself too hard. Also, in terms of the whole cramping thing and not having the electrolyte tablets, I think what I'm gonna try and adopt is the Boy Scout motto, be prepared, because I definitely wasn't. I didn't bring enough gels, I didn't bring tablets because I didn't know they existed. The only thing that I actually did to be prepared for the marathon in and of itself was buying some carbon shoes, doing a long run of 30k, close to the tempo that I wanted to do on the marathon day. And I found out that I got a lot of blisters from the shoes, so I bought some like flexible kinesio tape, I think it's called, and wrapped my foot in that on the pain points. So I actually avoided mostly, I think, except for the toe next to your big toe. Mine is a bit long, that was scratching against the shoe, so I got a blister on that one, but that's not too bad. It's mostly on your arch around the mid of your foot. That was where I got the blisters the first time. And speaking of the gear, what I ended up running in was these. It's the Adidas Adios Pro, which has carbon rods in them, as you can tell here. I think they're actually quite a nice shoe. It's very, very fast, it's very good looking, and it's a lot of fun to run in. But I'm gonna stick with the Evo SL, even for my speed workouts and whatever. And then I'm gonna save these for the really hard session. So if I wanna try and go for let's say a new PR, PB or whatever it's called. These were absolutely filthy after the run. So as I said earlier, I didn't know how I felt about the marathon afterwards. It took me quite a long time to figure out whether or not I felt actually a little bit sad about having done it, because it means that like it's done. You know, there's nothing really to train for, and it's been one of those things that I've been pushing ahead of me, telling myself that I could do at some point. But it also felt like the last chapter in a way. Like if you finish the marathon, you're definitely somewhat of a capable runner. In the 3 weeks after, until like 2 weeks ago, I actually felt a little bit of not sadness about it, but being more like, yeah, that's done, so now I can stop running. But this is why it's good to have friends. I have 2 friends that I know of at least that are running the Odense Marathon. That little spot down there has an annual in September marathon as well. I'm gonna train for that. So that also means that this channel, which I've been trying to figure out, like what is it about, like what type of videos should I do, I think it's maybe a little bit coming into place because tomorrow morning I'm gonna start marathon training and trying to prepare for a 3 hour and 30 minutes marathon in Odense, which is September 27th. So there's probably gonna be a lot of running content coming. The running content is gonna be at least weekly, so I can talk about like how it went, and maybe you guys are interested in like how I made the plan or how I feel about mobility and adding strength exercises, and also trying to lose a bit of weight because I have a little bit of surplus, let's just call it that, which is not muscle. And I'm thinking, all things being equal, the less weight you're carrying when you're running, the better. So I'll try and balance a pretty hefty marathon training plan with mobility, with more strength exercises, while getting enough carbohydrates, protein, fat, but also lose a bit of weight. I have no idea how to do it at this point, but I'm gonna figure it out. I usually do. We are probably gonna be transitioning into more running related content. I still haven't quite figured out how to do the content while I'm out running. That's the plan. And that was my Copenhagen Marathon, 10th of May, 2026. I did it, 4-week training block. It's done. I got the medal and I got some awful pictures, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, that was my Copenhagen Marathon 2026. Cool. So that little filter that you saw me unboxing is on the camera now. The past, let's say, just month, I've been talking about getting rid of a lot of the vignetting that is caused by mounting an 11mm lens on a full frame camera. They're built different, and for that reason you get a little bit of like the soft vignetting on the sides. You can't get rid of it totally, which is fine by me, but all the VND filters that I tried on this camera, they weren't big enough. So if you add a VND, you basically add more length to the cylinder of the lens. So that means more vignetting. I really like the look of 11mm, but not if the vignetting is too hard, because then it just looks like you're looking through like a toilet paper roll. This is somewhere around 15 to 16mm, where you don't get any vignetting. But if I do this, you get a bit of vignetting, but you don't get as hard a vignetting as I used to on the other filters. So I think I have finally solved that problem. And the solution was buying an, is it 82mm VND filter we're gonna say goodbye here, and that's gonna be it. I hope you stick around. Subscribe if you want more lifestyle running related content, which I know there's a lot of at the moment, but hey, just do it, you know? Could be nice. Cool. See you later. Bye.